Hey everyone, welcome back to this channel. My name is Gulsan. I am helping you with your spoken English. And today in this video, I am going to teach you how to speak English fluently from scratch. Sounds big promise, but yeah, I am going to teach you how to speak English fluently from scratch in just 1 year. That's what I'm going to talk about in this video. If you are someone wanting to improve your English in 2025, I think this video is going to help you do that. So before I talk about that, let me share with you my English fluency journey. I got started with speaking English, with improving my English in 2021 itself. From that point till now, I have been speaking English every single day. If you want to improve your English, you have to be showing up every single day. What do I mean by that is you have to be speaking this language every single day. So let's get started and talk step by step how you can speak English fluently from scratch. Before I talk about anything, let me tell you that I am from a Hindi medium background. So English was hard for me to learn. When I got started with this language, I didn't know how to read in English, I didn't know how to write in English, and I am just saying you the truth. I didn't know how to write properly, I didn't know how to pronounce some certain words in English. But I was committed because I had seen people who used to speak in English were earning more than the people who didn't know how to speak English. So that was kind of motivating factor for me, that motivated me to learn this language. So as I told you, even reading was very hard for me. So I couldn't read properly in English. So the first thing that I did to get started with this language was I started reading, and I took help from Google. That's what I did initially. I used to read for hours, for 2 hours, non-stop until my mouth was dried, and I was doing that to build my fluency, because I knew once I know how to just pronounce certain words in English, then it will build my fluency, and once I build my fluency, then it would be easier for me to talk in English. So the first thing that I did was I started reading books in order to get started with this language, because I was complete beginner. I was from a Hindi medium school and I wanted to speak English. I have never went to any English medium school so far. Like, I live in a small village. I just live in a very small village where there's no one who talks in English. In my family, there's no one who talks in English. And this is what I did. The first thing that I did was I started reading books in English. And from that point till now, there has not been a day when I did not practice reading. But the definition of my reading has changed now. Now I am reading for the sake of learning things, for the sake of gaining knowledge. But back then in 2021, I used to read to build my fluency. But I didn't understand anything while I was reading. I didn't understand even a single sentence. I promise to you, I swear to God, I never understood what I was reading initially when I got started with speaking English. But despite I did not understand anything initially, I kept reading, because I knew deep within that I am going to understand one day. If I keep going, if I keep reading, I am going to understand all of the sentences if I keep going. That was my commitment. So if you are someone starting from scratch and want to speak English fluently, I will say that keep going, keep pushing yourself, keep practicing every single day, and this is going to make you the person you want to be in the future. Like, you want to be somebody who speaks English fluently. You want to be somebody who are very charismatic. Like, you will be that person if you keep going. In 2021, I could not understand. I can't believe that I could not understand anything back then in English. If I was watching podcast, like, everything was going. over my head. I couldn't understand anything. But now I am, very comfortable with speaking English, with understanding English, with reading, with writing. I have become very good at. I'm not saying I have become master at speaking English, but now I can articulate my thoughts. Now I can explain what's going on in my mind in very easy manner. So if you're someone starting from scratch, don't put pressure on yourself. This is my guarantee. If you just keep going, if you just keep practicing every day, you will become good. First of all, you suck, then you get good, then you get better, then you achieve excellence. If you operate from this mindset, if you are trying something for the first time, you are going to suck. It will suck. Then you will get good at whatever skills you are trying to be good at. Then you will get better at that. Then you will get excellence at that. So the point here is to keep pushing yourself, keep practicing, and you are going to eventually improve with time. Okay? I am telling you this from my experience. If you want to speak English from scratch, means you are like me, you don't know how to write, you don't know how to read, you don't know how to listen, means you don't understand English, you just want to speak English, you just aim to speak English fluently in the future, I think there are 4 components of that. The first is listening, second is reading, third is writing, and fourth is speaking actually. This is how I have learned English. The first thing that I have learned was reading, how to read English. I took help from Google. Then second, I learned how to write. I was writing every single day. Back then in 2022, I used to write something or the other every single day. I would write something or the other in my diary every single day. I used to write about how my day had been. And the third thing that I did was I used to listen to English podcast. I listened to English podcast when I didn't understand even a small sentence in English. And that was the time when I did not understand anything while I was listening English. I just used to listen for the sake of listening, because someone had told me, just keep listening, and slowly you will start understanding all the things that you are listening. And that was the thing that I kept in my mind, and I was just listening. And after 6 months down the line, I could see that I was understanding something or the other from what I was learning, from what I was listening. I started understanding. So that's how I kept going, and that's how I have just learned how to listen and how to understand English. And the fourth thing that was the most challenging part of my English fluency journey was speaking. Like, in my village, there's no one who could talk to me in English. There's no one who I could practice my English with. But despite there were no one in my village who could talk to me in English, I started talking to myself every single day. I used to talk to myself for hours. I used to sometimes open my phone's camera and I used to talk to in front of camera for hours. As I told you, when I used to read, I used to read for hours until my mouth was dried. When I was speaking in front of my phone's camera, I would do the same. I would just speak for hours, and I didn't know what I was speaking, but that was the process I was in to improve my communication skill in English, because I was committed. In my speaking practice journey, there were apps, English applications like Talk Now, that helped me build my fluency, where I could go and call on that app, and somebody from other side would pick up your call and talk to you for as long as you want. So that's how I have improved my English. I used many applications to that to improve my English, and I am working on my communication skill even today, and I used all those applications to improve my English.